Wife cheated and left me for her friend 5 years ago. Now wants me back because he dumped her. I, a 58-year-old man, went through a painful divorce 5 years ago when my ex-wife Sarah, who is now 48, cheated on me and left me for her friend. At that time, we had been married for 11 years and had 2 children, who are now 13 and 10. Sarah was my second wife, as my first marriage ended tragically with the loss of my school sweetheart in an accident. My romantic journey has been marred by numerous difficult moments, with multiple dark chapters in my life. As I approach my 60s with a sense of gratitude and resilience, I've managed to navigate through all these challenges. After the tragic loss of my first wife, I was devastated. We didn't have any children together, which left me feeling like I had nothing to anchor me in life. I was in my early 40s at the time, feeling utterly lost and unsure about the direction my life should take. I fell into a pattern of heavy drinking and other self-destructive behaviors during that difficult period. That's when I met Sarah at a bar, both of us nursing our respective heartbreaks. We quickly formed a connection, and I won't deny it. I was in a pretty pitiful state, craving emotional support. My attachment to Sarah grew rapidly in a short span of time, and within a year of dating, she proposed to me, and we decided to get married. I can't say I was entirely ready for marriage, but Sarah was eager for a commitment, and I went along with it without giving it too much thought. She was in her early 30s and had a strong desire to settle down. Interestingly, she had previously ended her casual relationship with her friend due to his commitment issues. They had been friends with benefits, and while she had developed feelings for him, he didn't share the same sentiment. After years of a physical relationship, she eventually decided to move on from him. When Sarah made it crystal clear that she wanted marriage or nothing, I couldn't bear the thought of losing her. Her friend had already married someone else in a private ceremony. Looking back, some might say I made a hasty decision, but at the time, it felt like the right choice. Truth be told, I don't regret it. I had a fulfilling life with Sarah, even though we had fewer children than I initially imagined. Despite having children, including our 2 beautiful kids, Sarah and I enjoyed a stable marriage for 12 years. However, things took a turn when a mutual friend, who happened to be a fair partner, entered our lives. Sarah rekindled her connection with him, ultimately leading to our divorce. I retained custody of our children and have since centered my life around them. The reason I'm sharing this is because Sarah unexpectedly showed up at my doorstep last week, expressing her desire to be a part of our children's lives. When I first laid eyes on her, I struggled to recognize the woman before me. She appeared pale and utterly miserable, with puffy red eyes that suggested she hadn't slept in a while. Overwhelmed by emotions, she broke down upon seeing me, and I couldn't turn her away. I allowed her inside. Actually, I thought something terrible happened to a fair partner. She hugged me and cried when I asked her if everything was okay. She kept saying sorry and apologizing for leaving me. The kids were on their summer camp and I was alone at home. When she calmed down, she told me if her partner had abandoned her and went back to his native country in the south of Europe. He just left a note which said, "I'm sorry, I can't marry you. I have a wife and children at home." That was heartbreaking. He had been living a dual life, exploiting Sarah's feelings. He kept her hanging for 4 years, didn't marry her, and instead abandoned her. I don't know if I should feel happy or sad about the whole thing. While Alex may have played a role in the situation, I refrained from saying any hurtful things to Sarah. My heart went out to her, but the reality was that there wasn't much I could do to help her. She expressed that I was her last hope, and that she had returned to me because she believed I would forgive her and take her back. However, I explained that I had moved on from our relationship, although I harbored no ill will toward her. I cannot let her walk over me again. I had forgiven her for cheating on me once, but she did that again. She was so madly in love with her partner that she didn't think twice about leaving her children for him. She remained loyal to me for 11 years, only because a fair partner was out of the country. She came back now only because her partner left her. I told her I empathize with her but cannot trust her again. She started sobbing again and begged for forgiveness. I told her that I had forgiven her, and the best I can do is let her have joint custody of her children. If the kids are okay with that, she was not ready to leave at all. Unfortunately, I had to be firm and somewhat rude to make her leave. I told her I had to step out and insisted that she needed to go. Although she complied and left, her sudden reappearance has left me feeling quite unsettled. I've had my fair share of drama in life, and all I desire now is a peaceful existence. To be honest, even considering the idea of joint custody for our children feels like a significant concession. She very obviously doesn't care about them. So why would you allow her back into their lives if she'll just take off again at the very end of this affair? Update 1. Hello, everyone. Thanks for all the kind words. Appreciate all the comments, good, bad, and everything. This update is regarding the background context of my current situation, so if you're not interested, you could skip it. A few of you asked for the details about my past WC and how we ended up here, so here we are. As I mentioned, my marriage was smooth for 12 years. Our problems started when Sarah's long-lost love came back into her life. He was the same guy with whom she had broken up due to commitment issues. He went back to his country after the breakup, and now he's back in the city, and Sarah couldn't stop seeing him. Initially, I didn't mind when he occasionally visited us. She said she had moved on. I had complete faith in her. We had shared 11 years of marriage with 2 children, and during all those years, she had been a loving wife and an exceptional mother. There had never been any indications or red flags to make me suspect anything untoward. Then one day, she returned home and locked herself in a room. Despite our repeated attempts to call her for dinner, knocking on the door several times, she remained unresponsive. I called her phone to check if everything was fine. She texted that she was fine but needed some more time alone. I didn't bother her and slept in the living room. The next day she tried to be normal, but it was evident that she was not. I asked her what was wrong. She said she had a fight with her sister, but nothing serious, and she would deal with it. She didn't want to share the details, and I didn't insist. I didn't try to find the details from her sister because I don't like meddling in their private matters. She knew that trait about me, and maybe that's why she lied and made this stuff about her sister. I took her words to be true, but as the days passed, I realized it was not about her sister. The change in her behavior revolved around her friend. Up until that point, she had been cheerful, discussing her friend and making plans to invite him over for dinner and drinks. However, after that evening, she abruptly stopped mentioning him altogether. I attempted to inquire about him, but any discussion on the topic was met with silence from Sarah. Additionally, while Sarah had clashed with her sister on numerous occasions in the past, her level of distress and agitation had never been this pronounced. So yes, it was my assumption, but it turned out to be true. Instead of spying on her and finding evidence, I confronted her. If she had cheated on me with her friend, and gladly she accepted. Instead of gaslighting the situation and denying it, she confessed that when a fair partner returned back, she couldn't stop herself from meeting him. It started with friendly meets at public places, then catching up at his place, which reignited the stuff between them. I asked her if she still loved him. She said no. She pleaded with me for a chance. She said she got carried away at that moment. It had happened once, and she said she was guilty of her actions, and it was killing her from inside. She had ended her involvement with her friend after that evening. Sarah confessed that she had feelings for him when they were together, but he never reciprocated her emotions and had used her solely for physical reasons. She broke down and made heartfelt promises about never betraying me again. Despite my own hurt and confusion, I found myself falling for her all over again. I was deeply wounded, but I was determined to salvage our marriage for the sake of our children. The younger one was barely 4 then. Divorce meant separation from my children, and I couldn't fathom that. You could say I was weak for not taking that severe step. I forgave her and gave another chance to my marriage. I made it clear that if she ever betrays me, that would be it. And cheating doesn't only mean sexual relationships. I won't forgive her, even if it's just emotional. She agreed. We rebuilt our relationship and went on date nights and vacations. It went smooth for a few months until I got suspicious again. This time I didn't let the red flags slide. Sarah cheated on me once, and this time I was super cautious. It was like 4 years ago, so I don't remember the details accurately. However, the dynamics of our relationship didn't substantially improve. She continued to be distant and absent-minded, failing to allocate enough time for me. Our children often appeared moody at home, yet they smiled while texting and giggled while talking to others on the phone. Sarah remained glued to her phone, and she actively avoided any intimacy in our relationship. Her mood hadn't improved either, leaving me feeling disconnected once more. I confronted her head straight, but she didn't admit anything was wrong. She indeed played defensive and tried to gaslight the situation by making it about me. She blamed me for not trusting her. She played the victim that I was constantly keeping an eye on her because she had cheated once and all that. I tried to defend myself, but realized it was futile. So I did what everyone does in this situation: look for evidence to expose her. I snooped into her phone and found she had not changed the password, which meant there was nothing in the phone. There were chats with a venture partner, but it was a normal conversation for a month ago at the time that she had first cheated on me. I couldn't find anything on her phone. I was thinking of other means to find the cheating. But before that, she confessed. She got to know that I checked her phone. She said that if I was doubting her, I would eventually uncover the truth. So better she comes clean. She said she tried to distance herself after the first confrontation, but he begged her to return. She had initially avoided her friend, fearing that it would create problems in our relationship. However, this time, he assured her of his love and commitment, expressing his intention to marry her once he sorted out some personal matters. So they decided to keep their relationship a secret. She admitted to feeling guilty about cheating on me, but couldn't resist the opportunity to be with her affair partner. I realized that she had never truly stopped loving him, but had suppressed her feelings due to his past commitment issues. Now that if her partner was serious about her, she couldn't resist. She asked for a divorce, and I wanted custody of my children. I felt she also wanted to get rid of the children because she immediately agreed and requested me to let her meet them weekly. I nodded, but she had to break this news to the children, and she could use any reason she wanted. But it shouldn't show me in any negative light. She told the children that we were divorcing because we fell out of love. It was difficult for them. We went through a lot of tears and pleadings from the children to reconcile. Their cries did make me bitter towards her, but eventually I realized that even if she changed her mind about divorce, I couldn't forgive her this time, so divorce was the best option for us. I promised the children I would prove to be a good father. They didn't doubt that. I've always been an involved parent, not like the one who just shows up. It was not difficult for me to take up my full-time role as a single parent yet. Children miss their mom. Our divorce was settled amicably. I was undeniably hurt, yet I somehow managed to refrain from harboring a grudge. Some might call me a coward, or perhaps it was my age that led to my somewhat immature response. Regardless, I made the decision to let her go. Those initial months were exceptionally challenging, particularly with our younger child. I tried my best to provide them with multiple vacations, trips, picnics, and all sorts of activities to keep them happy. Sarah visited them once a week, but eventually, she relocated with her partner to Alabama. By then, the children had moved on, and so did I. In the last 4 years, the children have grown to be kind, resilient, and emotionally strong. Sarah used to call them after moving out from here. Initially, the children used to hang up on her and despise her, but with time, they became forgiving and understanding. They're now cordial with her. As for the current situation, when my children came back from their summer camp and got to know about their mother, they were not so sorry for her. They were like she chose that for herself. I tell you, these young generation kids, they freaked out when I told them about my proposal of joint custody. They refused to see her or live with her. I reassured them that nothing would be settled without their approval, emphasizing that it was ultimately their decision. They made it clear that they didn't want to be away from me, and they voiced their concerns that mom might abandon us again if her partner resurfaces. I can't help but wonder what kind of hold her partner has over her that keeps drawing her back, even after multiple betrayals. If she was capable of cheating the first time without showing any signs of red flags, then she was more than capable of doing it again. She was obviously hung up on this guy for quite some time, and even though he was out of sight, he most definitely wasn't out of mind. After finding out your partner is cheating, it seems only fair to be able to ask questions and seem suspicious. It's a well-known fact that a cheater who gets defensive when asked random questions often has something to hide. As for an update, I've come to the realization that dealing with Sarah requires a certain level of thick skin. To those who may have labeled me a simp, I'm not quite sure what that means, but I can say that I'm definitely an old-school guy. And yes, quite literally, I'm 58 years old. We don't hunt down women and scorch them down. If they stop loving us, we let her go. However, this doesn't mean we let them walk all over us. We draw that line to no bad feelings for negative comments. But yeah, just wanted to clarify things on behalf of all the old school men. So Sarah came back again. This time the kids were at home. They flipped out on seeing her. I asked them to be well behaved. They spoke to her for some time and then pushed off to their room. Sarah asked me if I had given a thought about reconciliation. I said reconciliation is not on the table for sure. And also the children don't want to stay with her. But I'm okay if she could convince them. I don't want to make assumptions, but it does seem like Sarah might not be keen on having children either. She mentioned that she couldn't afford to have the children with her and had been staying on an old friend's couch, someone who could ask her to leave at any time. While I was aware of her financial struggles, I had no inkling of just how dire her situation was before we got married. She used to work as a receptionist. She left the job shortly after our marriage. I tried my best to provide her with a good life. During our divorce, she was compensated fairly. I asked her what she did with that money. She gave it to her partner Alex to help him with his day business. Not only that, she had to take up 2 jobs to run their kitchen in Alabama. Despite all this, a third partner left her. He took all their savings while leaving only the money she had kept away from Michael's knowledge, which was there with her. She used that to travel back and had been surviving on that. I offered to lend her some money to rent a condo and get her life together, but she denied it. She said she always sought love and not money. And if money was that important, she wouldn't have left a stable life with me for broke. Alex. She wanted to live with us like a family, but that was not possible. Sometimes I do feel bad for her, but we don't have space for her in our lives. I gave her a check and asked her to rent a house and get a job and also seek therapy. It's evident that Sarah is going through a difficult time and could use some support. I've asked my kids to be compassionate toward their mom, since, after all, she gave birth to them. They have become more gentle with her, but they are still not open to having her back in their lives. Sometimes Sarah sends me texts, questioning if she deserves all the hate she's been receiving. I'm at a loss for words, but it's undeniable that she has hurt both me and the children deeply. You absolutely went above and beyond what she deserved. I think by giving her a check, you are, in a way, letting her walk all over you. She dug her grave. Now she can lie in it or dig herself out by herself. Update 3. Thanks all for the kind words in my last posts. I didn't update it for so long because nothing much has happened. It was the same cycle of Sarah showing up randomly, breaking down, and asking me to get back together. But in the last 7 months, my family dynamics have gotten complicated. I think around 1.5 to 2 years back, before Sarah came back into her life, I met this woman, called her Rebecca. She's 62. She runs a flower boutique and is as active as a 30-year-old. We started as friends, but after a year of getting to know her, I genuinely enjoyed her company. I often spent my evenings and weekends at her shop, assisting her with various tasks. I admired the way she managed everything independently. She had lost her husband at a young age, and she had raised 3 kids as a single mom. Now that her children had grown up and moved out, she's been selling flowers. This is saying her livelihood. I feel so lively around her. I didn't mention Rebecca on this thread or to Sarah, because then it would be like, I'm not reconciling with Sarah because of Rebecca. It's nothing like that. I don't intend to marry Rebecca or something. We are just too old, these intersect. He's trying to enjoy the last leg of our lives without any BS. My children know about her and they're happy that I have someone to share my feelings with. My older one is moving out of high school this year, and soon. The younger one would also move out for high school or college. I'm not emotionally dependent on Rebecca, but I think having someone, at least a friend, to share your thoughts at this age is precious. I had told Rebecca about Sarah's visit and she reacted sympathetically to the entire stuff. However, this didn't go well with Sarah. One day she saw me at Rebecca's shop and spied on me for the entire evening. I didn't notice it with our body language. She understood that I was dating Rebecca. I think she followed us. And that's how she saw me visiting Rebecca's place in the evening and spending my nights there. One day, as I was leaving Rebecca's place, Sarah confronted me with an accusation that left me stunned. She angrily exclaimed, "Is this the person who's keeping you away from me, the one you're seeing?" I was taken aback by her choice of words. How could she say such a thing? I attempted to defuse the situation and calm her down, but she continued to push boundaries, and I eventually responded with my own share of frustration. After all, she had cheated on me twice, abandoned her own children, and now had the audacity to reappear in my life, expecting me to take her back. While in my case, there's no cheating involved, yet she called me names and abused Rebecca. I told her never to show her face again. She was a selfish woman, and she has always thought only about herself. She left after that. But a few days later, Rebecca's shop was vandalized with a note, "Leave him." It was a no-brainer to guess it was Sarah. There was no camera installed in her shop yet. I insist that Rebecca log a complaint against Sarah based on the last incident. Rebecca was reluctant to go into legal battles, but I didn't let it slide. I called Sarah and asked her to come home. I berated her in front of the children and threatened her with the police case if she ever troubled us. Poor Rebecca. I didn't want to do this in front of the children, but she called the children to apparently expose me. Obviously, the children sided with me and unleashed their suppressed anger. She was the one who had ruined my kids' childhood, and now she was acting all victim and blaming me for our shambled marriage. It's been a month or so since all this. It was clear that Sarah did not re-enter our lives. My kids and I apologized to Rebecca for Sarah's outburst and helped her get her shop back in order. My children have been insisting that I marry Rebecca before they leave for college, but neither Rebecca nor I have any desire to enter into marriage again, even though we share a deep love for each other. I've yet to voice these feelings to her. I don't want to get into this marriage crap again. I don't think it's for me. I'm happy being a father of 2 children, and Rebecca's boyfriend, Michael. This is exactly why you don't enable the people who wrong you. Because in some way they twist things around and think they have a chance with you, which they shouldn't. She didn't deserve your time or energy in the first place. What do you make of Opie entertaining Sarah when she came crawling back? Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.